The emergency alarm echoed to the Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Coalition as representatives from over 300 species rushed to their designated positions. The massive chamber, carved from a single asteroid and equipped with translation systems for every known language, had never seen such panic in its 1,000-year history. High Chancellor Rix of the Crystalline Hegemony stood at the central podium, his usually perfect crystalline form flickering with distressed patterns that made the air around him shimmer with chaotic light. The holographic display surrounding the chamber showed real-time galactic maps, but something was terribly wrong. Entire sectors that had been populated just hours ago were now showing as empty space, not destroyed, not conquered, but simply gone as if they had never existed at all. Representatives of the Galactic Coalition, Rix began, his voice carrying harmonic tones of fear that his species had never been known to produce. The entities have returned. The void devourers that our ancestors wrote about, the beings that destroyed 3 entire galactic civilizations 1,000,000 years ago, are consuming reality itself. A collective gasp rippled through the assembly as the implications hit home. The void devourers were not just ancient legend or myth. They were the reason why vast regions of space between galaxies remained empty, why archaeologists occasionally found fragments of technology from civilizations that shouldn't have been able to exist. Admiral Keth of the Aquatic Federation, his bioluminescent patches flashing in rapid sequences that indicated extreme distress, accessed the tactical displays from his water-filled atmospheric suit. His species had developed the most advanced sensors in the galaxy, capable of detecting quantum fluctuations across multiple dimensions. Waters' instruments were showing defied everything they knew about physics. Our most advanced fleet simply ceased to exist when they encountered these things, Keth reported, his aquatic voice trembling through the translation systems. The 4th Battle Group encountered one of the entities 6 hours ago. 700 ships, including our newest dreadnoughts with reality-stabilizing shields. They don't register as destroyed on our sensors. They just stop existing. No debris, no energy signatures, no quantum echoes. It's as if they were never built. Dr. Yish, a floating gas cloud being from the ethereal collective, pulsed with colors that indicated deep analysis and growing terror. We've detected the entity's method of operation. They don't destroy ships or planets in any conventional sense. They approach a target and simply edit it out of reality. Matter, energy, even the space-time coordinates where objects once existed, everything gets deleted. The ancient progenitor databases, maintained by the galaxy's oldest surviving civilization, had been searched frantically for any information about these entities. The progenitors had survived longer than any other species by being extremely careful about documenting threats to galactic civilization. But even their vast archive contained only fragments of information about the Void Devourers. Keeper Zawel, one of the last surviving progenitors, activated his people's most sacred historical records. The ancient being's mechanical body word as he accessed databanks that had been sealed for 1,000,000 years. The warnings are consistent across all civilizations that encountered these beings, he announced in a voice like grinding metal. They are described as creatures that eat existence itself, and the advice is always the same. Flee to the far dark when the devourers wake. The record showed holographic images recovered from dead civilizations, brief glimpses of the entities themselves. They appeared as impossibilities, living voids in the shape of massive creatures, hundreds of kilometers long, moving through space like cosmic predators. Where they passed, stars didn't explode or burn out. They simply stopped having ever existed. Dr. Yash, the Coalition's leading physicist and a member of the highly logical computation species, delivered the final devastating assessment with mechanical precision. Based on our analysis of the entity's effects on local space-time, these beings operate completely outside conventional physics. They don't interact with matter or energy through any known force. They appear to access the fundamental code of reality itself and simply delete sections of the universe. The implications were staggering. Every weapon in the galactic arsenal, antimatter bombs, reality-warping devices, quantum disruptors, dimensional cannons, all of them relied on interacting with matter, energy, or space-time. The Void Devourers existed in a way that made them completely immune to any form of attack the galaxy could devise. Commander Trix of the Hive Mind Collective, speaking for billions of connected consciousness, reported the entity movement patterns. Our distributed sensor network shows 17 separate entities moving through the galaxy. They are accelerating toward the core systems, consuming everything in their path. Current projections show complete galactic sterilization within 6 standard months. Across the chamber, panic began to set in as species representatives realized the full scope of the threat. The robotic consciousness activated all their backup systems and began copying their collective memory to hidden archives beyond the galactic edge. The warrior clan started planning final battles against enemies they couldn't hurt. The peaceful herbivore alliance simply began weeping in harmonics that touched every being present. Emergency evacuation orders went out across the galaxy as entire civilizations abandoned their homeworlds. Massive colony ships, designed to carry millions of refugees, launched from every inhabited system. The Galactic Rim, previously considered too dangerous and remote for civilized species, suddenly became the most desirable real estate in the universe. But even as quadrillions of beings fled toward the outer darkness, everyone understood the terrible truth. The Void Devourers had consumed 3 entire galactic civilizations before. Running had never worked before, and there was no reason to believe it would work now. The ancient terror had returned, and this time it seemed there would be no escape for any form of life in the galaxy. As the Void Devourers consumed world after world, accelerating toward the galaxy's core systems like a plague of living nothingness, the Coalition's greatest minds worked frantically to find any possible solution. The situation reports coming in were beyond catastrophic. Half the galaxy had already been erased from existence, leaving only empty space where thriving civilizations had flourished for millennia. High Chancellor Vrick stood in the Coalition's Emergency Command Center, surrounded by holographic displays that updated every few minutes with new losses. The crystalline hegemony's homeworld, gone. The Aquatic Federation's core systems, erased. 3 of the robotic consciousness's manufacturing worlds, deleted from reality as if they had never existed. Status report from the Outer Spiral, Admiral Keth announced, his bioluminescent patches dim with exhaustion. The 15th Evacuation Fleet reports successful withdrawal from the Kepler sector, but... He paused, checking his instruments. The sector itself no longer exists. 7 billion beings evacuated just hours before the space they once lived in was edited out of the universe. Dr. Yish, whose species had survived by being the galaxy's most careful analyst, delivered updates that grew worse by the hour. The entities are accelerating. Initial projections showed them moving at sublight speeds, but they are somehow manipulating space-time to cover vast distances instantly. At current rate, they will reach the galactic core within weeks instead of months. Desperate times call for desperate measures. High Chancellor Vrix authorized something that had never been done in Coalition history, a call for help to every known species, regardless of their technological level or political affiliation. The message went out across the galaxy through quantum relay networks, emergency broadcast systems, and even primitive radio signals to reach civilizations that hadn't developed faster-than-light communication. All civilizations, regardless of technological level, are requested to share any knowledge or resources that might aid in our survival, Vrix's message declared. The Galactic Coalition formally requests assistance from any being capable of offering aid against the Void Devourers. No contribution is too small, no idea too primitive to consider. The responses flooded in from across the galaxy, but they were uniformly pessimistic. The war clans of the Savage Sector offered to fight the entities with nuclear weapons, not understanding that conventional force was useless. The peaceful garden world transmitted prayer sequences and offered spiritual comfort to dying civilizations. The Machine Intelligence Collective calculated that their best option was to upload their consciousness into deep space probes and hope some would escape beyond the galaxy's edge. Even the most advanced species were admitting defeat. The reality manipulators, who could bend space-time to their will, reported that their most powerful weapons simply passed through the Void Devourers without effect. The Time Lords, who had mastered temporal mechanics, discovered that the entities existed outside normal time flow and couldn't be approached through past or future. Commander Trix of the Hive Mind, speaking for billions of connected consciousness, delivered the grim assessment that everyone feared. Our collective analysis indicates 0 probability of survival. The entities operate beyond any physics we understand. Recommendation: preserve what knowledge we can in automated archives and hope some future galaxy might learn from our failure. Then, just as the Coalition leadership was preparing to issue the final evacuation order for the core worlds, a transmission arrived from the Outer Rim that made everyone stop what they were doing. The message came from a system so remote that most species had never heard of it, Sol 3, home to a species listed in the databases simply as humans. Coalition Command. This is Captain Robert Hayes of Earth Defense Force. The transmission began in clear. calm tones that seem almost casual given the circumstances. We've received your distress call regarding the Void Devourers. We'll handle the situation. Recommend immediate evacuation of core systems toward the Galactic Rim. Expect resolution within one standard galactic month. The Coalition leadership stared at the message in stunned silence. Admiral Keth was the first to find his voice. Handle it? These are beings that erase reality itself. This has to be a translation error or some kind of species-specific linguistic confusion. But the human transmission continued with professional military precision. Dispatching intervention fleet immediately. Do not engage the entities directly. Maintain safe distance and document our solution for future reference. We'll need detailed sensor readings of our operation for post-mission analysis. Dr. Yush quickly accessed a galactic database to review what little was known about this species that seemed to think they could solve a problem that had defeated the galaxy's greatest civilizations. What he found made the situation even more confusing. Class XII Deathworld designation, he reported to the Shock Assembly. Listed as minor species with limited space capability. Population, approximately 8 billion. Technology level, basic faster-than-light travel, primitive energy weapons, no reality manipulation capabilities detected. Keeper Zarel, the ancient progenitor, accessed deeper archives that hadn't been reviewed in centuries. Sol 3 is classified as uninhabitable by galactic standards. Extreme weather, hostile native life forms, unstable geology, dangerous radiation levels. Most species would die within hours of exposure to their planetary environment. High Chancellor Vrick studied the human communication again, looking for any sign of madness or misunderstanding. The message was clear, direct, and completely confident, as if dealing with reality-consuming entities was just another routine military operation. Either they don't understand the threat, Dr. Yosh said slowly, or they know something about the Void Devourers that we don't. The Coalition leadership exchanged glances filled with desperate hope and logical skepticism. A primitive species from a hostile world claiming they could solve the galaxy's greatest crisis? It seemed impossible. But with half the galaxy already gone and the rest facing extinction within weeks, even impossible hope was better than certain death. The Coalition assumed they were witnessing the final delusions of another species about to face extinction, but they decided to document humanity's attempt anyway. Perhaps future civilizations would learn something from their failure. None of them considered the possibility that beings from a world that spent every day trying to kill them might have developed solutions that more civilized species couldn't imagine. Captain Robert Hayes arrived at the Coalition Emergency Command Station aboard a transport shuttle that looked like it had seen better decades. The human fleet that followed him consisted of just 37 ships, a laughably small force compared to the massive Coalition armadas that had already failed spectacularly against the Void Devourers. The largest human vessel was barely the size of a Coalition patrol boat, and their weapons looked primitive by galactic standards. Admiral Linda Foster, commanding the human response from the vessel Asterisk Defiance Asterisk, stepped off the shuttle wearing a uniform that was purely functional, no ceremonial decorations, no species-specific cultural elements, just practical military gear designed for someone who expected to get their hands dirty. Her matter-of-fact demeanor stood in sharp contrast to the barely controlled panic that filled the Coalition Command Center. High Chancellor Vrix, his crystalline form still flickering with distress patterns, called an immediate emergency conference in the Coalition's most secure briefing chamber. Representatives from dozens of species gathered around the holographic display table, their various forms of communication creating a symphony of worried sounds, clicks, harmonic tones, electronic beeps, and bubbling aquatic languages. Admiral Foster, Vrix began, his translated voice carrying the weight of an entire galaxy's desperation. We've lost half our civilization to these entities. Our most advanced fleets, our greatest weapons, our most brilliant scientists, all have failed. What exactly is your plan? Foster activated a small device that projected Earth's quantum signature readings into the center of the table. The display showed chaotic energy patterns that made several alien representatives physically recoil from the hologram. Simple, she said with the casual confidence of someone discussing weather patterns. We're going to trap them using Earth's quantum signature. Our homeworld's reality is more stubborn than normal space. The Coalition representatives exchanged confused glances that ranged from bewilderment to outright disbelief. Dr. Yash, whose species prided themselves on logical analysis, spoke first. Admiral, we've studied these entities extensively. They consume reality itself, matter, energy, even space-time coordinates. What could possibly contain beings that can edit the universe? Colonel Michael Turner stepped forward, a man whose calm demeanor was somehow more unsettling than panic would have been. His uniform showed signs of wear that suggested he'd seen real combat, not just ceremonial duties. When he spoke, it was with a matter-of-fact tone of someone explaining a routine maintenance procedure. Earth is classified as a Class XII death world because our planet's quantum field is inherently chaotic and hostile, he explained, pulling up detailed readings that made the alien scientists' instruments beep with alarm. Reality operates differently there, denser, more resistant to external manipulation. Admiral Kether's bioluminescent patches flashed rapidly, indicating extreme agitation. You're planning to use your homeworld as bait to attract these reality-consuming monsters. Not bait, Turner corrected with the patience of someone who'd had to explain obvious things to confuse people before. A trap. Earth has been trying to kill us for millions of years through quantum storms, reality fluctuations, dimensional instabilities, and physics that change depending on the planet's mood. These void devourers are just another environmental hazard to manage. The assembled aliens stared at the human officers as if they were speaking in tongues. Commander Trix of the hive mind processed a statement through billions of connected consciousness and came back with, "You're treating cosmic horrors that destroyed entire civilizations as weather." Hostile weather, Foster clarified, activating a holographic display that showed their complete battle plan. We'll guide the entities towards Sol's system using ourselves as motivation while every other species evacuates to minimum safe distance. Earth's chaotic quantum environment should slow them down enough for us to implement a permanent containment solution. The tactical display showed movement patterns that looked less like a military operation and more like controlled natural disaster. Human ships would position themselves between the void devourers and populated systems, gradually leading the entities toward Earth while maintaining what they called safe pursuit distance. Dr. Yish studied the human data with growing amazement and horror. Your planet's quantum readings are completely unstable. Most species would consider that uninhabitable. How do you survive there? Practice, replied Major Jennifer Brooks, the human tactical coordinator. Every day on Earth is like living inside a physics experiment that's trying to kill you. We've developed a pretty good understanding of how to work with hostile reality. Keeper Zael, the ancient progenitor, accesses people's deepest archives and found records that confirmed what the humans were describing. There are references in our oldest files to anchor worlds, planets where reality is so chaotic that it resists external manipulation. We assumed they were theoretical. Nothing theoretical about Earth trying to erase you from existence every morning, Foster replied. The difference is, our planet has been doing it for so long that we've learned how to fight back. We've turned surviving impossible conditions into an art form. The holographic display showed Earth's quantum field in detail, swirling patterns of energy that looked like a storm system designed by someone with a grudge against the laws of physics. It was beautiful, terrifying, and completely unstable. "This is insane," Admiral Keth declared, his aquatic form rippling with distress. "You're proposing to lead galaxy-destroying entities to your homeworld and somehow trap them using planetary weather patterns." "Not weather patterns," Turner corrected. "Quantum weather patterns. There's a difference." The assembled alien representatives stared in shock at what appeared to be an elaborate suicide mission disguised as military strategy. To their logical, civilized minds, the human plan sounded like the desperate delusions of a species that had finally snapped under pressure. They couldn't comprehend that beings from a world that refused to let them live in peace might have developed solutions that more reasonable planets couldn't imagine. The human fleet executed what every galactic historian would later record as the most insane military operation in the history of civilization. 37 small ships, carrying barely 3,000 human personnel, deliberately positioned themselves between the void devourers and the fleeing populations of half the galaxy. Their mission was simple in concept but terrifying in execution: guide reality-consuming entities toward their homeworld and somehow convince them to stay there. Major Jennifer Brooks coordinated the approach from a command ship Resilience *, treating beings that had destroyed entire civilizations like a particularly dangerous wildlife management problem. Her bridge crew worked with the calm efficiency of people who'd grown up dealing with impossible situations on a daily basis. "Contact in 30 minutes," She reported over the fleet communication system, her voice carrying the same tone she might use to announce dinner was ready. All units maintain formation. Remember, we're not fighting these things. We're herding them. Think of it like guiding a tornado toward a hurricane to see which one wins. Captain William Davis, commanding the escort vessel Stubborn Asterisk, positioned his ship dangerously close to the lead Void Devourer. The entity was massive, easily the size of Earth's moon, and appeared as a living absence in space that hurt to look at directly. Where normal space had stars and cosmic dust, the Devourer showed only emptiness that seemed to extend infinitely inward. Visual contact with Entity Alpha, Davis reported, his senses struggling to process something that technically didn't exist. It's definitely interested in us. Changing course to pursue. The good news is, it's following our lead. The bad news is, it's following our lead. The human ships move through space with practiced precision, maintaining exactly the right distance from the entities, close enough to keep their attention, far enough to avoid being erased from existence. It was like playing tag with cosmic horrors, except losing meant being edited out of reality permanently. Lieutenant Commander Patricia Wells, monitoring the operation from Earth's orbital command station, watched as the impossible plan began to unfold. As the Void Devourers approached Sol System, something unprecedented occurred that made her instruments go haywire in ways they'd never been designed for. Admiral Foster, we're getting readings that don't make sense, Wells reported, staring at displays that showed reality itself fluctuating around Earth. The entities are slowing down. Their consumption rate is dropping significantly as they enter our local space-time. The Void Devourers, which had consumed entire star systems in minutes, began to struggle as they encountered Earth's chaotic quantum environment. Their reality-eating abilities became sluggish, like predators trying to hunt in thick mud. The planet's naturally hostile quantum field interfered with their ability to delete matter from existence. It's working, Dr. Rachel Martinez announced from the Deep Space Monitoring Station. Earth's dimensional instability is interfering with their consumption process. They are having trouble maintaining their reality deletion field in our quantum soup. Admiral Foster watched from a command ship as the entities approached Earth and began to slow down even more. The planet itself seemed to be fighting back against the cosmic horrors, its hostile environment treating reality-consuming monsters like just another natural disaster to be weathered. Phase 2, Colonel Turner, Foster ordered. Colonel Michael Turner, coordinating from Earth's surface, implemented the final phase of their plan with the casual efficiency of someone following a manual he'd written himself. Using Earth's natural dimensional weaknesses, the same instabilities that made the planet so dangerous to live on, human scientists began collapsing several parallel realities into their own. Initiating Quantum Maze Protocol, Turner announced as massive machines hidden across Earth's continents activated simultaneously. We're folding dimensional space around the planet. Think of it as creating a cosmic rat trap, except the rats are reality-eating monsters and the trap is our entire world. The effect was immediate and spectacular. Space around Earth began to twist and fold in ways that violated several laws of physics. The Void Devourers found themselves trapped in endless recursive loops, trying to consume a world that actively fought back on a fundamental level. Every time the entities attempted to erase part of Earth's reality, the planet's hostile quantum field regenerated itself and counterattacked. It was like watching cosmic predators try to eat a meal that kept punching them back. Captain Lisa Thompson, observing from the outer system, reported what she was seeing with barely controlled amazement. The entities are stuck in some kind of feedback loop. They try to delete Earth rewrites itself and slaps them back. They try again, Earth hits harder. It's like watching the planet have an argument with cosmic horrors and win. The Void Devourers, which had effortlessly consumed 3 entire galactic civilizations, found themselves caught in Earth's environmental hazards. The same chaotic quantum storms that made the planet dangerous for humans to live on were proving impossible for reality eaters to digest. Admiral Foster monitored the situation from orbit, watching as beings that had destroyed civilizations became trapped in what amounted to Earth's weather patterns. Status report, Colonel. All entities contained within the quantum maze, Turner replied with satisfaction. They are stuck in a loop trying to devour reality that refuses to be erased. Earth's treating them like particularly aggressive weather, and you know how our planet handles aggressive weather. The galaxy watched through long-range sensors in stunned silence as humanity defeated cosmic horrors by using their homeworld as a weapon. The Void Devourers, trapped in Earth's quantum maze, could only struggle helplessly as the planet's hostile environment slowly wore them down. It was the ultimate expression of human problem-solving. When faced with an impossible threat, find a way to make it someone else's problem, preferably Earth's, since the planet enjoyed fighting impossible things. 6 months after the Void Devourers had been trapped in Earth's quantum labyrinth, Ambassador Diana Parker stood in the newly rebuilt Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Coalition. The massive chamber had been relocated to a safer sector after the original had been temporarily erased from existence during the crisis. Representatives from over 400 species filled the space, more than had ever gathered before, as civilizations that had never participated in galactic politics suddenly wanted to understand the species that had saved them all. The holographic display surrounding the chamber showed real-time monitoring data from Sol's system, where the trapped entities continued their futile struggle against Earth's hostile environment. The readings were both fascinating and terrifying, reality-destroying beings caught in an endless loop, slowly being worn down by a planet that treated cosmic horrors like particularly stubborn weather. Status report on the containment. High Chancellor Vrix requested, his crystalline form now displaying patterns of amazement rather than the terror that had flickered there months ago. Ambassador Parker, a career diplomat who had spent most of her life explaining human behavior to confused aliens, activated the latest monitoring data. The entities remain contained indefinitely within O's quantum field. Our planetary defense grid shows them trapped in recursive dimensional loops, essentially caught in a storm that won't let them leave or consume anything effectively. Dr. Rachel Wells, the human scientist coordinating the monitoring efforts, provided the technical details. Earth's quantum field has actually gotten stronger since the entities arrived. It's like our planet is using them as exercise equipment, building up its reality resistance muscles by constantly fighting off their deletion attempts. Admiral Keth of the Aquatic Federation, whose bioluminescent patches now pulse with curiosity rather than distress, asked a question that every species representative wanted answered. Ambassador Parker, how did your species know this containment method would work? Our greatest scientists never even considered using a planet's natural hostility as a defensive weapon. Parker smiled with the expression of someone who had grown up dealing with impossible situations on a daily basis. High Chancellor, Earth has been trying to erase us from existence since we evolved. Quantum storms, dimensional rifts, reality fluctuations that can turn gravity sideways or make mathematics stop working. We deal with this kind of thing regularly. The Void Devourers were just another Tuesday for us. She activated a holographic display showing Earth's daily environmental hazards. The assembled aliens watched in stunned silence as the data showed quantum storms that would destroy most species' technology, reality fluctuations that regularly violated the laws of physics, and dimensional instabilities that made portions of the planet temporarily exist in parallel universes. Your people live in conditions that would be classified as a continuous reality manipulation attack, Dr. Yish observed, his gas cloud form pulsing with colors that indicated deep analysis and growing respect. How do you function as a civilization? Captain Robert Hayes, who had led the initial human response, answered with characteristic human practicality. We adapt. When your planet tries to kill you with impossible physics every day, you either learn to work with impossible physics or you don't survive to complain about it. The galactic databases were updated within hours of Parker's presentation. Earth's classification changed from Class XII Death World to Reality Anchor Point, approach only in extreme emergency. The new designation included warnings that even experienced galactic travelers found intimidating. Planet demonstrates active hostility to external reality manipulation. Recommend extensive preparation before approach. Emergency evacuation protocols ineffective in local space-time. More significantly, humans became the designated problem solvers for threats that transcended normal physics. Dr. Yash, now serving as head of the Coalition's newly created Impossible Threats Division, filed his comprehensive analysis of humanity's unique capabilities. Humanity didn't defeat the Devourers through superior technology or advanced strategy, his report concluded. They succeeded by being from a world so fundamentally hostile that even reality-eating monsters couldn't handle it. Their entire species has been shaped by surviving conditions that would be classified as continuous cosmic horror by galactic standards. The practical implications became clear within a year. The Coalition received reports of 3 other impossible cosmic threats that conventional forces couldn't handle, entities that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, creatures that fed on the concept of existence itself, and mechanical beings that converted matter into pure void. Each time, the Coalition's response was the same: contact humanity. Major Jennifer Brooks led the response to the multidimensional entities, treating beings that existed in 17 parallel realities simultaneously as a logistics problem. "We'll just collapse the extra dimensions around them," she explained to amazed Coalition observers. "It's basically the same technique we use to deal with Earth's dimensional storms, just scaled up a bit." Colonel Michael Turner handled the existence-eating creatures with the casual efficiency of someone dealing with particularly aggressive weather. "These things feed on the concept of existence? Earth's been trying to convince us we don't exist for millions of years. We're pretty good at arguing with that concept by now." The void conversion machines were dealt with by Captain Lisa Thompson, who approached reality-destroying robots like a routine maintenance problem. They turn matter into nothingness? Interesting. Earth's quantum field turns nothingness back into matter. Let's see which process wins. In each case, humanity's approach was the same. Treat the unthinkable as just another environmental hazard and find a practical solution, using techniques developed for surviving on a planet that actively fought against the existence of life. The galaxy learned that sometimes you need beings from a world that refuses to let anything, including cosmic horrors, reality-eating monsters, or impossible physics, kill its inhabitants. When the universe tried to delete humanity, humanity simply refused to accept the deletion and got back to work. As Ambassador Parker noted in a final report to Earth Command, the galaxy has apparently been waiting millions of years for someone crazy enough to argue with cosmic horror and win. Turns out, they just needed someone from Earth. *** the END ***.